Oh, hello. This is kind of a surprise, is it not? Well, I am just talking to myself. What can I do, though? Such is life. Sometimes, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Or, when life gives you a task, you gotta turn it into some sort of an entertainment. Hello, hello, the one dear friend who's watching me. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the surprise CM Kozeman weekday cat stream. Let's wait a little for people to percolate, and I'll be right back. Oh, 3 people. Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, Edef. I'm just going to come back with something to drink. Hello, Lorelei. And I will show you why this is called the weekday cat stream. Just you wait now. Welcome, everyone. All 7 of you. Hello, hello, hello to the CM Kozeman weekday surprise cat stream. Yes, I'm broadcasting from basically my extended family house where there's a cat and there's a high-speed internet connection. So I've been asked to take care of the cat. So this is the cat. I'm taking care of the cat. And I said, for an hour or two, this was completely unplanned, but it would be nice and cool to chat with you. So I'm just going to put this cat down, not in that sense of the word. I'm just going to put her down so she goes away. She's over 17 years old, nearly. Can you believe it? Nearly 17, yeah. Say hello to Cat, and we will properly begin. She's doing a hand thing. Ay yavrum. Yavrum. Look at this. All right. Well, Daddy Kozeman always has his hands full of pussy. So thanks for being here. Everyone is agreeing that the cat needs so many forehead kisses and stuff. Lorelei called the cat hirsutus, which means hairy one. Yes, she's hairy as she's very hairy. And we have got our beer, weekday beer. We got the war-shocked cat. And we got all 5 of you watching. Well, maybe this won't be an extremely long stream, but thanks for joining. Call everyone you know. Bring those bodies in here. Pack this room. And we will be ready to answer all of your questions. Lorelei says they're just finishing up breakfast. Well, I hope you're having the 4 liquid breakfast bash CM Kozeman breakfast. And I hope you can all hear me okay. Can you all hear me well? I guess you can. Weed Lord says, how come you came back home? Are you still in the beach house? This is not the beach house from basically July and August 2023. This is parents' boomer house. What can I say? They got everything, but nobody to take care of the cat. Only liquids Lorelei has had are Protein shakes and a cup of coffee. Nice. EDF is meant to be working, but this is way more productive. Come on, forget about work. I'm here to distract you. And plus, I think it's like if you work to the point, you don't need to be on all the time. I hope your boss doesn't get in your hair about it. All right, cat surprise. We're at 10 people now. Welcome, everyone. It's been 5 minutes already. One of the rare moments you can see me drinking something with alcohol in it, but I guess it will make me more talkative in this hot hour of the day. Wow, so many important decisions in the chat. About to play Skyrim, but stream is better. Yes. Skyrim, I don't know. I never got into that game. All I know is the meme with the I had an arrow in the knee kind of thing. Hello, everyone. Let's do popping off a can of Bud Light or whatever beer you're drinking. So yeah, these beers have this weird things. They come pre-packed like this. I always like open them, so it's like a weird crab. And I always think that I will be able to like strike somebody viciously one day and inflict like a gruesome scar. So yeah, hello everyone. Let's do a roll call. Where in the world are you all hailing from? Let me know in the comments and let's get this party started. Most of you are pretty much regular since now, but it's really impressive that even on like a no notice weekday stream, I can get 12 people in here, maybe more. And it's always like you think that in streams people are talking about thousands or Ks, but in real life, if you can get 12 people into your house, that's a house party. So yeah. Lorelei is from California. UK, specifically England, is the Rexy Rex. Absentfish is hailing from Montenegro, country with surprisingly tasty baklava. Well, the Ottomans never truly got to Montenegro, but I think their food has done the conquest for them, huh? Lizard is from Slovakia. Cheers, my friend. A Slovakian lizard in the audience. Very nice. Well, I hope wherever you're in the world. Digital Banyo is from Istanbul. Weed Lord is from Israel. Represent. Next year in Jerusalem, my friend. Wow, I got a friend from my whole same city. Which neighborhood? You know, Istanbul has 18 million maniacs in it. More than 25 if you count well. More than 25 million people in one mega city, the largest city in Europe, actually. A lot of registered and unregistered people. And so the neighborhoods of Istanbul are like different cities in their own right. So I wonder which part of Istanbul you are from. Loch Ness was in Istanbul a couple months back. Well, maybe we met. All the way from Tel Aviv, says Edef. Cheers. And my Istanbul friend, Digital Banyo, their name translates into digital bath, which sounds very liminal and like, I'm sure there's an aesthetic for that. I've been looking into this aesthetics wiki, and maybe one day I'll do a whole like podcast on them. Apparently there are lots of these like aesthetics, which are like, I mean, in my day and age, if you talk about aesthetics, I would think you're talking about maybe just things, you know, like there will be a classical aesthetic, maybe a like cyberpunk aesthetic. But now there's this website called the Aesthetics Wiki, and in this website there's like thousands of aesthetics. but they're only like slightly. So if you're like a goth girl, but you have Hello Kitty on you, you're something. But if you're a goth girl, but you kind of like more like smoky, hazy things, you're another kind of aesthetic. But those things are crazy. Yes, 3 Israelis in one stream. 3 Israelis and one ethnic Hebrew. Yours truly. Yes. I wonder when any conspiracy theorists will start to have the drop on that. Digital Banyo is in Beşiktaş, which is the best part of Istanbul, a walkable district full of young people and also full of amazing shops, like living mom and dad shops. You could go buy fruit. It hasn't been entirely gentrified. That's the thing. Although the people who live there are doing their best to fuck over students with everything they do. Lorelei, all right. So, yes, 5 people, 5 more, and we'll have enough for a synagogue. We'll have a minyan. Vagabond Goat says, İyi günler Közemen abim. I guess maybe you are Türksün too. I hope you're having a good day, chat. Hello, everyone. Furthermore, Digital Banyo also strikes my envy by living in Eskişehir, which is the best city in all of Turkey. I cannot for the fucking life of me convince people around me that this is a nice place to live. It's just like a European town. You can take the train, go into Istanbul or go to Ankara, which are the 2 biggest cities in Turkey. It's got lots of cultural amenities. It's quite cheap. So what else do you want? Really, especially if you work remotely. Andreas Polidoro says, Kalispera, my friend. How is everyone? I'm doing well. Oh no! What a burp! Well, in some cultures, it's a sign of respect. Okay, the questions are coming. So let's prep our questions now, everybody. Rexy Rex from England asks, why have frogs not diversified tremendously yet? Do you think they're waiting for a group of animals to die out so they can fill the niches? Well, in some ways, frogs are amazingly diverse. Their body plan is quite conservative, but I mean, after studying all frog lineages for the frog special videos in this channel, go check them out, by the way, you can see that genetically they're extremely diverse. And in terms of, like, you got frogs that reproduce with larvae that are like functionally fish, basically. On the other hand, you got frogs that never see water and live in the deserts. You got frogs that glide through trees and do magical stuff. So in some ways, they're extremely diverse. In terms of the niches they occupy, maybe as diverse as mammals, who knows? But of course, like if things like lizards died out, I think there would be many more frog species that kind of more like crawl around on all fours. Although salamanders may beat them to the punch. I don't know. I think frogs are already extremely diverse as they are. What other niches they can, like if lizards did not exist, maybe frogs could radiate into a more like gecko-like, like not jumping but walking kind of niche, like clambering about on tree bark and walls. That's something I could see happening. Weed Lord asks, are frogs not dying right now from some super kinds of frog AIDS? Well, up to a decade ago, there were great deaths of frogs, mostly caused by something called the citrid fungus, which was a fungus that was killing everything. So that was a thing. I think it was really lethal, but claims of every frog going extinct were, I think, kind of exaggerated. Because, I mean, it does take an awful toll, and don't get me wrong, especially human activities are getting a lot of frogs extinct these days, but ultimately some survive and the overall lineage seems much more robust. I don't know anything about the AIDS. All I know is the super fungus that was killing them, but they seem to be like bouncing back, but they took a huge hit. But I think that's also an issue I have with alarmist ecological reporting. That is to say, all these frogs, all these animals, they suffer from like tremendous population crashes every now and then, but then they bounce back. And the media always reports the crashes and never the bounce backs. So there. Weedlord says there was a lot of propaganda on saving the frogs. Yeah, I guess like anything you do in order to preserve frogs or frog habitats is good, no matter if the frogs are dying out or not. Absent Fish says, do you know any interesting sea monster stories from the Adriatic or near regions? All right, so this is nice. Not necessarily sea monster, but I do know an Adriatic legend from the town of Ulgin in Montenegro, actually. Actually, I know two legends. One concerns the wayward Jewish messiah, Shabtai Zvi. To briefly summarize his story, he was a Jewish guy who lived in the Ottoman realms around the year 1666, so at the birth of the modern era. He then declared he was the Messiah, and if you don't know, in Judaism, there's a very strong belief in messianism. They all expect a Messiah to come back and redeem them. And he was very charismatic. And in those days, there were actually like horrible massacres of Jewish people in what is now Moldova. And so the entire Jewish world, especially in Europe, was in a kind of apocalyptic mood. So most of them did believe that this Shabbatai Sevi character was the Messiah, and he was living in the city of Izmir, which is even in the present day a part of Turkey. Long story short, the Sultan found out about this sedition and says, "You're gonna pull a January 6th on me, son?" And Shabtai Sevi was like, "No, master." And then Sultan was like, "If you're the Messiah, I'll just have my archers shoot you. And well, if you have messianic powers, I guess you'll survive, won't you?" And Shabtai Sevi was like, "No, master, you got me the wrong way. I am not the Messiah. In fact," he said, and converted to Islam right there. The Sultan was a very smart guy. Of course, he rewarded him and like he took him under palace protection. And that was the end of Shabtai Sevi's story for most of the Jewish world. Except, of course, there was a central core of his followers. And remember, at the height of his fame, there were news about Jewish traders in Amsterdam or Bristol selling their property and getting ready to like emigrate to the Holy Land under Shabtai Sevi's guidance. So a group of core believers had such a strong belief in this guy. They were like, it's not up to us to judge what the Messiah is doing. So let's all convert to Islam. And they also converted to Islam. Now, when they did this, they continued to practice some parts of secret Jewish religion among them. And they mostly hung about themselves. We're talking about maybe a core of like 500 or maybe 400 families here. And, well, a long story short, but part of my family is descended from these groups. So there's a Kozman origin story. And after that, the Sultan realizes that Shabtai Sevi is still kind of continuing his seditious ways. So he's exiled to Ulgin, which is now on the seashore of one of the small seashore towns of Montenegro, a really nice place, actually. I've been there. It's a nice, nice town. And he lived in a tower there and he disappeared. Now the Adriatic legend part comes to play here. Many people believe that Shabtai Sevi just disappeared into the sea and then he will come back from the same sea. One day, because remember, messianism is pretty hard to eradicate in Jewish thought. Now, in the same city, there's also another legend, let's say, not a cryptid, but a legend. And in that area, there were two Albanian brothers. I forgot their names. They were like such like ballsy characters. And one day, a Genoese or a Venetian fleet came in to invade this town, Ulgin. So the Truth brothers were like, wait, we got this shit. They were like, each of them was twice as strong as Jason Momoa and The Rock combined. So imagine characters like this. They go down to the seashore. They look at each other. We gotta do this. Yeah, we're doing this. And they whip out these whips, actual whips, and they start flagellating the sea like, take this goddamn sea. Echoes of the Persian king flagellating the waves centuries ago there. So they were whipping the sea, and the sea kind of whipped into such a storm that the Genoese or the Venetian fleet was like, ah, mamma mia. They were like eliminated. And these twin brothers were like, we got this shit. So they were actually buried somewhere in the seaside. Actually, if you go to this town, Ulcin, and you kind of walk around the seashore a bit, you do see something that looks like a cross between a weird fountain and a weird kind of tomb that people say these two brothers are buried in. If you walk a bit further, you will also see the mystical tower that Shabbatai Sevi kind of meditated in. So lots of legends in the Adriatic. All right. Weedlord says, are there still Jews who believe in Shabbatai Sevi? Yes, there are a lot of proper Jews who still believe in him. Plus, there's still a core group of Shabbatayan believers living mostly in Turkey. And just wait. So if you want to learn more about Shabbatai Sevi, you can get this book that who wrote? I wrote. I actually had a meeting with a member of the community who still believes in Shabbatai Sevi's messianism. And this guy, for all like purposes, looks like a normal Turkish guy, but he is full of amazing stories, and they're all registered in this book. It's in English. If you look at this thing, the Karakash Speaks, you could get this book and read it. And I did not believe this, but this community has a weird belief in Kabbalistic magic. They have these very strange Kabbalistic trees, but they're like annotated in Turkish. And this book publishes several very important documents from this community for the first time. And, well, you can find it on Amazon.com or go to my website, cmkozman.com, and go to the books tab. It's not very cheap, but it's not very expensive either. Certainly well worth a read. And it's like a readable book. It's not overtly academic. It's written in an everyday language. There are footnotes that explain everything. So like, you'll have fun. Even if you don't know much about Shabbatayanism or Turkish history, when you read Daddy Kozman's book, A Karakash Speaks, you will know it all. All right, let's look at some more comments. Weedlord says the tree of Kalipot is a symbolism of higher dimensions. Yes, yes. Lorelei Sinai says, is this a station-to-station reference? Lorelei is a fellow David Bowie maniac like myself. One magical movement from Keder to Malkut. And actually in this tree, this is unbelievable. Like this is like 1930s in Turkey or something. They actually call them Malchut and Keter. So David Bowie's song was a Kabbalah reference. The return of the thin white dukes, throwing dots in lovers' eyes. Do, do, do, do. are we? One magical moment. Such is the stuff from where dreams are woven. Yes, you got me singing again, and we have 18 viewers. I think it's the most we've had in quite a while. Let me eat some chocolate while you ask some more questions, not necessarily about this Jewish or Dönme or Shabbatayan thing, but anything. Let's diversify our questions a bit. Edef says, we will be checking out, as if they're an agency. Ahmet Soruç says, iyi yayınlar. Selam abicim, a Turkish friend. Lorelei says, do you like any songs by Supertramp? You shared some with me. They're okay. They're nice. Weedlord says, I declare this as a settlement. You're declaring this stream as a settlement, or yeah, maybe. Get the barbed wire. Rexy Rex says, do you think it would be possible for sauropods to have bird-like necks, as in terms of soft tissue? Well, yes. Look, in dinosaur reconstructions, the current trend now is like anti-shrink wrapping, which is like an animal's bones. Well, there's a lot of muscles around them. And almost certainly this was true for a lot of dinosaurs. But if you look at sauropod dinosaurs, which are these long-necked dinosaurs that grew to enormous sizes, maybe in that case, it would still have some flesh and muscles around it, of course, but it would be like a flamingo. Like if you look at a flamingo's neck, the skin and muscles stay pretty close to the bones, but there's still like a layer of smoothness about it. So it's like there's a road almost around these things. So it's probably quite feasible. A lot of sauropods have that kind of like close smoothness on their necks. In fact, if you study like actual bird necks with long necks, you will see that when people draw sauropod dinosaurs, they always draw this kind of like protruding chest when the neck joins the body. But actually, I think that was smooth. And like where the neck joined the body, it was very thick. But then quickly it got very thin and hugged as close to the bone as possible. That's my canonical interpretation. I think I will make some drawings about this soon. So keep following my socials. By the way, I would like to remind everyone, if you like this stream, why don't you go to my Buy Me a Coffee link and support me there? Every penny makes a difference. I know a lot of you are Patreon supporters already, but this summer has been kind of tough. The economy is really like reaming us here in the Turkish Republic. So if you could just spare a few dollars on Buy Me a Coffee, that really helps me. Chocolat Blanc says, glad to be able to finally catch a stream. Well, hello. Vagabond Goat says, have you read Gene Wolfe? I unfortunately haven't. We got almost 30 people. Wow, this is the most I've collected so far. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're here. If you joined after I did the roll call, please let's do another roll call. Tell me, where are you all from? And Sikibidi Cameraman says, merhaba. I have mad respect to you for naming yourself about after the Sikibidi toilet meme, which is like the funniest shit I've ever seen in a long time. Fernando Katekaix is from Illinois. Hello. Weed Lore says, ahlan wa salam, selam aleyküm selam. Benito Camelo is from Mexico City. If don't forget liking the stream. Yes, like, share, and subscribe, please, and share it all on your socials. I hope NordVPN contacts me. Tree is from Florida, and yes, there are lots of trees in Florida. Hello. Alfred B is from Sweden. Hello, my friend. Which town, which city? A lot of you kids are on Discord, so if you boost me there, that would be also extremely welcome. And now a word from our sponsors. With NordVPN, no one will be able to see the slime porn you've been searching for all day. I know what you're up to. So does the whole world. Use NordVPN. Use this following promo code. Come, come, come. Cheers. Do you believe Atlantis existed when Plato started it? Stated it. Wow, this is interesting because I was just, and I am broadcasting on the 5th of September 2023, and just recently I published a video about basically my summer vacation and the weird places I went there. So in there, I used a lot of music from this amazing 1990s point-and-click adventure, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. So this comment by Luca Ricci says, do you believe Atlantis existed when Plato stated it did? 9,000 years before his time. I have no idea. I haven't read actually Plato's accounts of Atlantis, so I cannot comment definitively. I think it was kind of his ideal society, and remember, like, people in all times of history. Oh, that was a whistle from a boat. People in all parts of history were really smart and kind of savvy. They had a concept of fiction, and like Plato's account of Atlantis to me always felt a bit like Wellesian political world building fiction. Like H.G. Wells, he has a lot of stories about the future world where he outlines, God damn it, boat, where he outlines his ideal political order, but he presents it as a future history. It's entirely possible that Plato, being a very smart, erudite person, did something similar with Atlantis. I mean, maybe very faintly, Atlantis could be based on memories of this one city called Tartessos, which, unless I'm mistaken, was a Phoenician city, but very old. And people still don't know where Tartessos was, or could have been. So yeah, maybe it's slightly based on memories of Tartessos, or maybe Plato used like fragments of knowledge remaining from Tartessos in order to make his political world building fiction more, like, give it a sense of verisimilitude, if you know what I mean. Okay, we got OG Atlantis expert here, TK Sivgin, longtime friend. Plato says Plato's account of Atlantis was largely meant as an allegory for the current state of Athens he was observing. It was likely never a real account. Yes, I think I have a similar view on this thing. A friend who identifies only as an Asian character says, a boat horn was sounded in the background. I love haiku-like comments like this. Thank you. Sikibidi Cameraman says, I think Lemnis Island is where Atlantis is supposed to be, according to Plato. I don't know. Nobody knows. It could be Terra or Santorini, where there was a huge volcanic eruption in the past. It could be Crete. It could be, if it was like not a political allegory, it could be also memories of the Minoan age in Crete, where people had flushing toilets and it was fashionable for everyone to be super hot and women could walk out with their breasts hanging. Fuck, I wish I lived there. Oh God. Sickibidi beep beep pam pam pam sickibidi beep beep pam. It's time to board the ship, Mr. Cosman, says Lorelei. You mean the crystal ship is being filled. 1,000 girls, 1,000 dreams. Immortal song by Jim Morrison, which many people equate in their minds with Val Kilmer now because of that nice movie back in the day, The Doors. I was wondering, what do you think about Gnostic esotericism, if that's not too dangerous for a stream, says Le Chocolat Blanc. Well, I don't know too much about Gnostic esotericism. I think if you want to know more about this thing, you should really visit the Esoterica channel. That's ASOTERICA. And it's operated by this great guy called Justin Sledge. He knows much more about these things than I do. Gnosticism seems to be a closed, almost like a earlier version of Freemasonry, a kind of more closed system of thought and belief, if you could even call it that. So I don't know much about what they believed. But go look at the Esoterica channel. I mean, this guy, Justin Sledge, who runs the Esoterica channel, he really educates you. He's a really smart and really great communicator. I actually look up to him in terms of how he speaks sometimes. So go look up Esoterica channel. I don't know what would be dangerous about it though. Like, even I don't think there's any risk in discussing ultra heterodox beliefs. CBD Cameraman asks, what is your favorite anime or series? Well, my top animes are the Studio Ghibli animations, which I think they're like distinct human narratives, and they're removed from the world of anime in a way. But if you follow me go to this website called My Anime List. Just Google it, My Anime List, and I have an account there. It's CM Kozman, no spaces. You'll see my favorite anime. I don't like things like One Punch Man or Berserk or, I mean, heaven protect me, I don't even like Attack on Titan. I don't like anime that's like science fictiony or fantasy. Like, I like anime that's more like in real life. Like, some of my favorite series, I don't remember, but there was one about Rakugo theater players. That was really nice. Rakugo is a kind of theater, traditional Japanese theater. There's another series about a group of people who want to make a dictionary. That was nice. Oh, Vagabond Goat says, I'm surprised your favorite anime isn't Angel's Egg. I watched that too. That's an amazing head trip. Angel's Egg is just wonderful. And also, of course, Evangelion is a masterpiece. Evangelion, I've been a huge fan. I just watched it during COVID, actually. It was something else. Fernando Catecaix asks, will ants ever discover technology of fire? Maybe not. Ants might discover concrete. They might discover dams and stuff, but they have a more organic and like generative form of technology. Fernando Catecaix says, you're missing out on some good anime. Okay, let's turn the tables. What are your favorite animes? List them in the comments and I'll read them out. Schlepak says, hello, Mr. Kozeman. Hello, my friend. Okay, we got the anime recommendations coming in from all the Kozemanites. Cowboy Bebop, yes, that's what I need to watch. That Serial Experiments Lane, that was nice too. Like prescient precursor of the cyberpunk genre. Bot Pirate says Mob Psycho 100, haven't watched it. Idle Speculation says Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, haven't watched it. Blame as a favorite manga, okay, haven't read it. Jiba, I don't know. Netflix Castlevania, yeah, Castlevania is pretty good too. I actually really liked the, was that Castlevania though? Vampire Hunter D. That was a great anime. A bunch of shameless weebs, says Chocolat Blanc. Yes. Monospondylus says Heidi, which is true. The OG 80s cartoon or 70s cartoon of Heidi, which was broadcast and has become like a generation defining series in Turkey and many other countries. Heidi. Heidi, it was actually an anime. Golden Kamuy, I don't know. Keep your hands off Aizoken. Okay. Made in Abyss. Wow, I got a lot of esoteric guys and gals in my audience. Haven't heard a second thing about most of these animes. Bleach and One Piece. Okay. Berserk. Okay, I've heard this too. Full Metal Alchemists. Okay, maybe. Yeah, life is better with anime though. Like some of my favorite moments in the COVID pandemic were like taking a bowl of the cheapest ready-made noodles I could afford. Because when the pandemic started, I went crazy. I stockpiled on food actually. And I was just eating that and watching anime in a world of my own. Mm, such a nice feeling. Made in Abyss is a great setting, but it has a lot of widow stuff. I don't know. 30 people, wow. So I think weekdays during the day is a better time than weekends at midnight. Though a lot of American friends are missing. Well, this is for the old world people. Although there are a few people from Illinois and Florida. Have you ever read Bucky? 6 p.m. in Ankara? Yeah, it's 6 p.m. nearly in Istanbul too. You had some nice rains in Ankara. I envy you. Old world is the better world, says Weedlord. I somewhat agree, but I just like concept of America so much. Even though it's like a extortionist shithole, I fully understand this. But if you work, even if you do a half-assed work, you are rewarded there. My favorite insight about America, it comes from one of those millions of. So there's this YouTube channel called Peter Santinello, and he interviews interesting communities in the United States. So look him up, Peter Santinello. It's Peter S-A-N, no, Santonello, or I don't know. Just look it up, Peter Santonello. He's like a very highly watched YouTuber. So he has one episode with recent emigres from Ukraine. And then there's this one guy who's like, if you live here, it's not so hard if you work. And for most people, I can see how that could be true, myself included, compared to like where they're coming from. Certainly, like the old world has much more better food, better culture. In the longer term, it will endure for longer, I think. But in the United States, I don't know. Like the old American or ideals, as twisted and corrupted as they are still worth admiring, in my humble opinion. Santenello, yes. So Santenello. Yes, go look that up. Chocolat Blanc says, "What I enjoy about America is the potential you have at succeeding from a financial standpoint." Very true, very true. Like, probably you know that also sell surreal art, things like this print over there. Okay, half of my buyers, more than half, like 70% of my buyers come from the States. And like when I'm dealing with a buyer from Turkey, they're always like, "Hey, can we do this? Can you?" Or but an American buyer is like, I said, $500. Guys like, paid right there. You you got so much more. But that's also a temptation. Like in my personal philosophy, I am always like the kind of look at what you have kind of person, and don't deal too much with what you can have kind of person, because there's no end to this shit. So a confusing state of affairs. You mean you don't like the burgers? Says, oh fuck, I live and die for the burgers. Fuck, if I lived in the US, I would be like a non-shrink wrap dinosaurs. There would be a lots of meat here, lots of jowls, lots of neck meat. I would be a fat fucking Culver's. You got something called Culver's burgers there, which is like very well done hamburgers done in of butter. Ah, I could just swim in those things by eating them. I love the burgers. I love, well, actually, one of the things I do, I've been to the US like 4 times or 5 times in my life. First thing I do whenever I go there is I rent a car. I drive over to Walmart, not even Target, just drive over to Walmart. Just look at the products. You don't even need to get them. You got these enormous Cheez Its. You got lumps of ham the size of children. You got .22 tracer ammunition. You got the whole shebang. Unbelievable. Oh, there's Culvers everywhere in Illinois. Well, my friend Fernando, if you eat Culvers and send me a picture, I would be forever in your debt. Schlepak says, great, great. Ah, thank you. I just want to say thanks to you. I've become very interested in biology as a whole. It's now my hyperfixation. You are great. Thank you. Now, in my podcasts, there's a lot of hyperbole, a lot of irony and fun, but these things really like, I feel very happy when I hear these comments. Thank you so much. And I hope this gets you to a good place in life. CM Cosman Burger mukbang when? Maybe soon. Actually, let's take a 1 minute break. I need to eat something because the beer is really making me dizzy. I fucking have to drive back. Live or die, motherfuckers. Mm. Mm. I'll get something to eat to take the edge off the beer, and I'll be with you right away. Ask your questions now. I already have some amazing questions I need to answer. So 1 minute beer. Some of you people there want me to chug the beer. Not a chugger. Well, I'm back. Hello, hello, hello. The burger should be the four solid supper smash. All right. Beautiful fat Turkish dinosaur. By the way, I'm going to pop you all a question. Has anyone here actually scored using my content? Like, have you ever invited someone and you're like, hey, let's watch this crazy Turkish guy? And you're like, did that ever happen? Or did you ever recommend me to your loved ones? I'm just curious, just asking. Sikibidi cameraman asks this very neat question about a very Turkish context. I think this Turkish streamer called Sevan Nishanyan gets this question like 10 times every turn, but here I think this is my turn to get it. Can you recommend anything about any sources about the Alevi religion in Turkey? I've read a few books, but they either critique it or they take it to weird places like the continent of Mu. Okay, so a little context. Alevism is an ultra heterodox Anatolian faith that has many, many varieties. In some forms, it's very close to Shia Islam, and it's actually quite conservative. So, in some forms, it's similar to the form of Islam you see in Iran. In some forms, it's like a weird repackaging of Christianity almost. In some forms, it borrows from shamanism, animism, and it does not have any solid written sources. That's why it was actually back until the present day, it's a minority religion. But usually, if you live in Turkey, a person, if they're Alevi, their politics would be Republican but left leaning. In terms of lifestyle, they would be more likely to be more liberal, but they're also insular and they kind of like have their own prejudices in their among themselves. But they would more likely, if somebody is Alevi, they would be more likely to be somebody who's anti-government and who's like, but then it has got so many flavors. In some communities, it intersects with Kurdish nationalism. In some communities, it intersects with Turkish nationalism. So it seems like almost like a pizza of heterodox faiths that were historically present in Turkey and who are mostly united by this one fact, the fact that they historically were aligned against the main force of government that was ruling the country at the time, which until the last 90 years was closely linked to the leading faith. I don't know any books I can recommend because it's certain that it's like 4 or 5 different folk religions or conversions from other religions united as a single faith almost. I could only recommend, if you want to find out more about Alevis, go to a Cemevi, which is an Alevi place of worship, and just talk to people there. Don't ask prying questions, but talk about life, and then you will see their rituals and how they live life and how their religion functions in their daily life. So maybe that's a good option. Also, don't trust anything written in the Turkish language. It's just a garbage, an ocean of garbage. Not just about Alevism, but unfortunately, Turkish is the pariah religion of historiography and sociography. Mm. But Pirate says, I tell about you to all my friends. I shared your travel videos and watch them with cute girls. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the way it was meant to be enjoyed. Nope, I lost a girlfriend that way. Well, man, Sorlos. Mm-mm-mm. Not to be sexist, says Chocolat Blanc, but many women are not intrigued by this sort of subjects that you speak about. That's true. But the ones that you get by getting Cosman pilled are keepers. Let me tell you that. A lot of people, man and woman and men, are just boring. When I get back to the States, says Bot Pirate, I'm already planning to share the boardroom adventure. Okay, great. Thank you. Which Permian or Mesozoic animals would be best suited to evolve into a dragon? By this, I think you mean a dragon with like extra wings and four limbs, like so a hexapod. Well, my good friend Jonas Insigna, I hope he's watching this. We interacted online a lot back in the day, like 10 years ago. He had a project like this where it was animals that look like Longus squama, which evolved some of the scales on top of their bodies into wings. And eventually these were like more dragon like, but I don't know. I personally find these classical dragons really boring and just not even worth the trouble to think about. Mm. Dying, it's too hot in here, says Chocolate Bank. Well, hope you stay cool, my friend. Did you ever make a video on the Lake One monster? No, I haven't. I have spoken about it, but I haven't made a dedicated video yet. Maybe I should. It would bring in a lot of views, that's for sure. Have you ever experimented with psychedelics? No. Look, I'm the most straight edge person ever. I have this thing with my personality. I have no filter, but at the same time, I have a sense of empathy. So, like, since I was a child almost, I could know that I could walk up to anybody and say anything I wanted. Now, of course, when I was growing up, there were lots of cringe moments where I was too full of myself. I always like kind of had an external observation of myself. I could see when I fucked up. I could see when I was doing something right. So I always like had this feedback going on. And always like when I was in my 20s, I could walk up to a girl and just start talking just like that. Of course, it helped that I was kind of not ugly looking, but I'm not the best, most handsome guy ever either. I think the key to my success there was that I never tried to like purposefully chase down and fuck people. I just had like talking with people, and if you talk and if you're honest, then they talk back. Hmm. Well, that's why I never felt the need to drink. In fact, I used to pride myself by going to a club or a bar or like one of these weird dance clubs that were like hot in the early 2000s. I would spend zero money. Zero. I would know the people at the door. They would know I'm not a drug dealer or I would not disturb people, you know? So they'll let me in for free. Now I go in, strike up a conversation. If they don't talk back, it's okay. You don't get punished. Usually, most guys will be like, "Ooh, what drinks do I need to buy if a girl dresses this way?" Or what? Fuck off. Bish bash bosh. I was always that sort of guy. Blood Pirate says you had self confidence to share. Yes, yes, I still do. Okay, so some people's partners, James Bell. Is this is James Bell? Wait. Wait. Oh no, there's a urban exploration guy whose last name is Bell, but he's Dan Bell, not James Bell. Well, James Bell, who's commenting right now, says their partner is really fond of my cat videos. So there, yeah, I hope to make many more. Fernando Katekaik says, could you re-answer my question? My internet cut out. Unfortunately, you will have to go to my YouTube page, go to the live tab, and listen to it all over again. Weedlord says psychedelics are not only the high or about gaining confidence, but they're about evaluating reality from a different perspective. True, I'll grant you that. In fact, I once had this like compulsive urge to experiment with LSD after reading what everybody, especially like the person who invented LSD, did with it. But who are you going to trust? Like, freaking Istanbul is illegal, that's for one. Plus, let's assume for hypothetical causes that you found someone who's going to get you LSD. How are you going to verify that that thing they get you is LSD? So, no, I wasn't microdosing. I wasn't doing anything. I would love to maybe experiment one day in a country where it's legal with LSD under controlled circumstances and people to comfort me. But I'm not really that curious. I'm not really that curious about drugs, but I respect if you are into these like psychotropics. There are these YouTube channels about like DMT entities or like taking weird drugs I don't even know the names of, and then trying to contact these beings they see. That's very interesting. Chris says, "Are you looking forward to Dune Part 2?" Yes, I am looking forward to that film. I think it's going to be a good one. Though the trailer was a bit lackluster, but who cares about trailers? Hmm. Kaun Shah asks, do you like Star Trek? I like its philosophy. I should get into it, but I've never watched Star Trek on purpose. But anytime I've come across Star Trek on TV, it was interesting. It had great morals, great philosophy. Nice series overall. Weed Lord says LSD. Yes. I had one experience with drugs, and I think I can tell this to you. It's a funny Daddy Cosman drug story. Oh, picture this. I am 21 years old. Somehow, I'm at this stinking rich kids ski vacation place. I actually like skiing a lot. So I'm there with this package tour full of other college students. I think I'm one of the few people that actually goes on the course to ski. At night, there's this disco. This is like a howling wilderness in the Anatolian mountains in a place called Uludağ. If you're ever into skiing, it's like not a great place to ski, but it's what there is. So, So, of course, I'm 21. After skiing and like having a big meal, I want to go to the club. So it's like it's tight. It's actually a very small place. I don't know. Everybody's smoking, by the way. Smoking wasn't illegal indoors back then. That's how old I am. there's like so it's like, and there's a lot of hubba hubba going on. Okay, so what happens is I still can't forget this event. So I meet this girl, okay? She has these like hair done into like balls, like Chun-Li from Street Fighter. So also she's wearing this like very tight body hugging white shirt, onion skin thin. You can see everything. And I'm dancing. One of the things about me is that I am double jointed. So when I'm dancing, I actually do this at a bar stool. You see that? Oh my God. I got her interest. Then I start speaking. Awuga, awuga, yes, exactly. Then I look at her eyes. They're fully dilated. Like this ancient Sumerian god shit. Obviously, she's high on some sort of illegal substance, probably ecstasy. And she's like, "Are you on something? You must be like high," she says. I said, "Well, not really," but in that loud music, nobody can hear it. We're very close together. And that shirt is like an onion skin thin. Off. Then, just as we're about to kiss, she goes to me like, put something in my mouth. It was a kind of mint or chewing gum, you know. But I was so foolish. I thought she passed me some ecstasy, and I was so scared. Maybe it is chewing gum, but I think it may be laced with ecstasy or something. So I was freaking out. Then I go to the toilet in this mountain nightclub, which is disgusting, of course. It's full of shit everywhere. I try to like get some water to drink because I think maybe there's going to be lots of ecstasy in my bloodstream. So I'm scared that something will happen to me, you know. So I know I don't want to get dehydrated. But the bathroom is so disgusting. There's like, I mean, vomit on the floor and stuff. So I get out of there. I actually go out of the club and start eating snow. Then, like 10 minutes later or something, 10 minutes later, this girl appears. She's so hot. She's wearing this tight, form-hugging coat with fur lining, and from like her ample cleavage, you could see the everything. And then she's like, "Where were you? I thought you bummed out or something." I was like eating the snow, crouching, like, "What the hell did you just give me?" And then she was like, "Fuck your mood. It was just a chewing gum." And she assumed I was high on some drug, so she gave me a chewing gum so that my jaw wouldn't lock, because apparently that's something that happens with those narcotics. I wouldn't know. So there I blew my chances, but I didn't really care. It seemed to be more trouble than it was worth. I shall never talk to star BGR girls in bars. Well, it's a siren song, my friend. Look, just be respectful and you'll be fine. Strange girls in bars. No, until you start a solid formal relationship, I think you should speak to every strange person in bars and experiment a lot. This stream is going awesome, by the way. Thank you all so much. I asked about psychedelics, says Weed Lord, because you give off the vibe as someone on shrooms in a good way. Your art is very trippy. Thank you. I get this comment a lot. All I can say to this is that if there's any effect you see that can maybe be replicated with narcotics in my personality or in my art, know this that I am like this all the time. It's a default mode for me. I can notice certain things right away. In most cases, details are apparent to me at the same level as the bigger picture. Just born this way, I guess. But I also have like really stupid lapses of judgment too. Like the other day, fucking couldn't find where I put the eggs. I had the eggs in my hand all along. What the fuck? Mm. Reverse the roles. Yeah, if a guy did that to a girl, this happened in year 2003. All these discussions about agency, responsibility. It was a wilder world back then. Like, heck, even until like 2015, 2016, it was expected for like, if someone was famous, he or she was expected to like have their way with thousands of women, no questions asked. Of course, in a rational assessment, a lot of these interactions would be sexual assault, rape, or coercion. Celebrity culture and sex were like so closely entwined, and there were no questions asked. I think this really started to pivot around the year 2016, which coincidentally was when the world economy was kind of slowing down and taking a back turn. So I think maybe the party is slowing down. And I think many young people today, they're like, compared to my generations, they have a more adverse reaction to sexuality. They're more timid, and maybe for a better reason. I don't know. Were you microdosing? No, I wasn't. I never did. Yeah, no drugs, only hardware, says Göktuğ Demir in a very, very succinct summary. You cannot imagine what it's like being on psychedelics. Ineffable. Well, I have seen things you people wouldn't believe. Also done things too. Adef says, find somebody who's interested in the same things, not who's most attractive. Beauty fades. True, very true. Not even interested in the same things, but find somebody you're comfortable farting next to. If you're that comfortable, you got a keeper. Upsand Fish asks, do you have a favorite movie creature, a more obscure one? I got many favorites, but maybe one of them would have to be, you know, the Gremlins series. They're this series of movies about these monsters. If you soak them in water, they reproduce uncontrollably. And if you feed them after midnight, they turn into these reptilian creatures. So in one of the Gremlins films, Gremlins 2, Gremlins get into a genetics research lab. Don't ask me why or how. And there they start drinking all the weird DNA samples. In this movie, of course, one drinks the bat DNA and grows bat wings. Another drinks the spider DNA and becomes a spider cantor gremlin. I love this creature. I wanted to be that creature for a number of years. There are many more, but this is the one that has stuck with me mostly. Weedlord says, nah, dude, there's still lots of parties and sex going on. Good. I think it will keep on going till the end of time. Hmm. By the way, also apologies if I sounded like this old aging geezer who's too full of himself. I've done things you can't imagine. Like I know everybody's getting it on like crazy. Oh, there's some flame war. Yeah. The point is that awareness around those kind of parties compared to the early 2000s when you were probably still in your dad's balls. Okay, okay, let's not fight. Let's not fight. God damn, the cat stream turned out to be quite good, didn't it? Policius says, hello, Mr. Cosman says, hello, my dear friend. Mm, mm. Have you heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? Says Sikibi the cameraman. Not a story the Jedi would tell you. Chocolat Blanc says, don't worry. You're still young and beautiful and cool. Thank you. Policy says, I love your channel. Where are the cats though? You need to find these videos where it's obvious the picture has sans serif font in large type. I usually post them for like landmark follower counts or just sometimes just for shit posting. Just go to my all-time videos and you'll find some. The party hard debate rages on with Weed Lord saying, I also did lots of shit, and today's kids are more nerds than before, but the party still goes on. On, on, on. Mm. Now it's been an hour and 17 minutes. Soon I'll have to call it a day, but Göktuğ Demir, man, he strikes late, but he says all the most base things. Göktuğ Demir says, pertaining to the previous discussion about psychedelics, consciousness just expands randomly when psychedelics are used, but learning new things, reading books, making new experiments about life, going hiking, or meeting people, that teaches you a lot. Bro, I fully second that. Absent Fish says you should make a video list of all your favorite movie creatures. Maybe, but there needs to be a theme around it. Like if I make a video saying my favorite movie creatures, that's okay. But maybe some video about like the top 10 spider monsters in film. That could be interesting. Like I always want an angle in these videos. An angle that's not only my subjective choice. By the way, we are working on criminal cryptids part 2. So if you got any suggestions for that, please list them now. Policius says, when I was young, I would eat so many rice waffles. Yes, these things are fine. Any more criminal cryptids, list them below. I just need to answer a call of nature because this beer doesn't stay in your bladder forever. I'll be right back though. Not going anywhere. Are they salted rice waffles? Yes, they're lightly salted with a sprinkling of salt. I'm not going away for good. I'll be back. Then we'll have 10 more minutes of chatting. Then I'll call it a night day. Be right back. Yavrum, yavrum, yavrum, yavrum, yavrum, yavrum, yavrum, yavrum. Hmm. Ah. Göktuğ Demir says, oh, çocuğa öpücükler, which means, oh, kisses upon the child. Yes. My parents have a real mechanistic view of this cat. They're like, oh, we keep feeding her. Why is she not well? Well, you have to love her, kiss her, interact with the animal. It's not a Cartesian machine. Look at that fucker. There she's going. Gidiyor. All right. Okay, where were we? Sorry. But Pirate said gitmiş, gone. Weed Lord says, can you make another video about Turkish folk stories? Maybe. Possibly. The Lake One monster probably will be coming though. I miss him already, says Polysius. Okay. Thank you. Well, I'm back now. Sikibidi Cameraman says, have you ever heard of the Ptanum B project? Yes, I even contributed the creature design for the contest they had recently in August 2023. I have reached weird states of awareness during meditation. The phenomenology is real, says my Asian character friend. All right. It was like you're channeling your grandma. Yes. Unfortunately, both my grandmothers have passed away. All right. All right. We have nearly reached an hour and a half. In 6 minutes, I'm going to call it a day. But what do you all think? Any last questions? Any other recommendations for the Criminal Cryptids Part 2 video? We started with the cat, had this big discussion about psychedelics and stuff, which why one I'll just be pedantic. I say I in no way endorse. If you do it, I respect you, but always stay true to the letter of the law in your country. You don't want to get mixed up in this shit. Chocolat Blanc asks, can you come back to this one claim about feeling bad about killing video game non-player characters? Yes. So look, I got a lot of friends who are like big fans of The Sims, and sometimes they kill the Sims just for like fun. Also, like when you're playing, I don't know, like any sort of role-playing game, sometimes these people just like go around and like kill non-player characters. And I see that if given enough power, this is what these people would do in real life. And I just think it's sadistic. It is wild. The suffering of another entity, even in digital symbolism, even in the digital symbolisms of a computer game, is just not fun. If you get your kicks this way, there's something wrong with you, or in the very least, I don't want no stuff with you. Also, there's this like philosophical route you can go about it, which is saying that the AI used to program some video game NPCs is quite sophisticated, a bit more sophisticated even than the nervous system of some insects, for example. So if you would not go killing like if you don't go like stepping on snails for the heck of it, you wouldn't go killing those things either. Chocolat Blanc says, do you think there's a correlation between acts of violence in video games and potentially recreating them in real life? Maybe not. Depends on the violence. If you're playing Call of Duty and you're killing lots of enemies, that's okay. If you're playing like one of those horror games and there's lots of blood, that's okay. If you're in a situation where you have the choice to kill an unrelated character or just move on, and if you choose to kill them, I think there's something animalistic in your character. It's just my personal opinion. Maybe there's a big study there that reveals this is not true, so I don't know. Bot Pirate recommends me to do a video about Turkish wonders, like Chimera in the Mediterranean Sea. I probably won't do a video about wonders specifically, but if I go to a place and there's a like wonderful place from history there, I'll film it. If you visit Kale in Ankara, that would be awesome too. Well, if you actually follow my channel, there are lots of videos about weird shopping malls in Ankara's Ulus district, which are close by to Kale. So there. Stinky Winky says about killing innocent video game characters. Knowing there's no repercussions makes people not feel the guilt factor as much. True, very true. But Pirate was in Ulus today fixing a laptop. I hope you got a good price on that. No. Anybody in Ankara, you just had a recent spate of rain, and I really like envy you for it. It's still quite hot out here. All these snacks, finally the beer is wearing off, so there. 800 liras for a new keyboard and cleaning. Okay. Not a bad deal. That's like $25, right? Sigibidi cameraman says, we had rain here in Çanakkale. We desperately needed them after wildfires. Nice. Are you by any chance Mert, the famous YouTube streamer from Turkey? Yep, new battery installed too. You're good to go, my friend. Benny says, I noticed killing an NPC in GTA is easier than a voiced one. I think lacking humanization is, yes, true. I think there's different flavors of video game sadism. Like if there's a character that kind of looks like a SpongeBob or like some funny, weird, like funny thing, you know? And then there's something like a car chase or something, and if this character is accidentally on the way and they get squashed, that's almost like comic relief, but it's different from the case in a game like that Call of Duty where you're in a Russian airport and you have to kill civilians, innocent women and children. There's like a qualitative difference. Yeah, like the penguins in Mario. Also, like if your boss or somebody you hate is bugging you in real life and you make them in Sims and you kill them, that's different than making like 10 Sims, women, children, men, old people, and just watching them burn and laugh. You know, there's different qualities of sadism. In some cases, it's a spectrum. In some cases, it's close to a sense of humor. In some cases, it's genuinely somebody who should not be allowed to exist. Chocolat Blanc says, please mark that down. Kino's journey, just watch episode 1 and 2. Traveler goes to a town with no rules, and what happens is worth to watch. Well, in fiction, there are always these concepts of towns or places with no rules. You can do anything you want. Usually, though, if that was the real case, already in society, I think law has a flimsy hold on people. People usually don't go around killing random strangers because if you try to kill somebody, they can hit you back and you might be wounded. So there's that. I don't know. Lots of philosophical places we could go with this. Stinky Winky says, didn't hear the earlier chat about cats. What was that about? Well, just go and watch the stream when it's published. Okay, everyone, it's been an hour and a half. I need to get going. The cat is fed. Benny says, where law doesn't exist, often a sort of honor law. Exactly. There are, in groups of people, there are always like these physical webs of power that are there no matter the letter of the law. In most cases, like if you're on Times Square and suddenly law went off like this, so there will be no police, there will be a lot of looting, but it would not be like what's the name of that stupid series? It would not be like The Purge. You know, you can't easily kill people. Actually, like if you ever looked at people who've been to combat, killing people or like incapacitating people is like a serious specialist job. And you really need to know your way around it. So if law suddenly ended, there would still be like a web of honor law around people who have physical strength. And usually not all of these people are evil. So yeah, there would be some like brigand actors, but they would quickly in time be snuffed out by the emergent powers that stand for justice. There would be more black markets and gangs forming. True. But in time, those gangs would fight among each other, and then one gang would be so big that they would practically replace the state. And in that perspective, also, what is the state but virtues and very big gang? And usually states have their own excesses of power and own injustices, just like real life gangs. Killing people has mental health consequences. Very agree with that strongly. Okay, everyone, that's that. Don't kill everyone. Don't do drugs. Have a nice day, and I love you all. If you enjoyed this banter, if you enjoyed my stories with weird girls in clubs and stuff, please consider giving me a donation on Patreon or buy me a coffee. Also, spread news of this channel, especially like these days. I'm actually kind of in need of funds. So if you can be generous on buy me a coffee, that would really help. So thank you for everything. And it was a great time. Goodbye for now. Bye. Three, two, one, boom.